Folks, I have a very serious issue I want to discuss with you. One of the great newspapers in this country, there's a handful. Investors Business Daily, their editorial page, superb. Jet Fuel Gate is Obama's new Cylinder. Have you heard this one? Cylindergate was no isolated case of corrupt, this is going to really piss you off, government misspending. The U.S. Navy was just forced to buy 450,000 gallons of biofuels from an Obama-connected firm at an outrageous $16 per gallon. Now we find the Navy partnering with the Agriculture Department to purchase hundreds of thousands of gallons of alternative biofuel in place of standard JP5 fuel for Navy aircraft, the biggest federal purchase of biofuel ever. It's part of the White House's, quote, we can't wait for Congress, unquote, strategy. In other words, it hasn't been approved by Congress as the 2012 election year looms. But JP5 typically costs less than $4 a gallon. A look at the lucky seller of this environmentalist version of the proverbial $600 Pentagon toilet seat indicates that the move is not just wasteful, but ethically suspect. You ready for this? As J.E. Dyer, an excellent writer, by the way, noted over the weekend on the Hot Air Green Room, quote, a member of Obama's presidential transition team, T.J. Glother, is a strategic advisor at what is with the names of the Solazmi, whatever the wording is, the California company that is selling a portion of the biofuel to the Navy. Now, Glother worked, shock, shock, on the energy section portion of the 2009 stimulus bill. Solazmi has already gotten a nearly $22 million chunk of change out of the taxpayers thanks to the 2009 stimulus. We heard the ludicrous excuse last week from Obama Navy Secretary Ray Mabus, as quoted in the National Journal, that we're doing this for one simple reason. It makes us better fighters. Because our use of fossil fuels is a very real threat to our national security and to the U.S. Navy and its ability to protect America and project power overseas. Is this guy nuts? Answer, yes. But what about the very real threat to the Navy of not having enough money for the ships, fighters, and ammunition it needs to protect America? Obama's assault on the Pentagon could scrap 60 of the Navy's ships, including 2 carrier groups. We're already under 300, ladies and gentlemen. The biofuel will be used next summer by, we're not making this up, quote, the Great Green Fleet Carrier Strike Force in exercises near Hawaii. So now we have a Great Green Fleet Carrier Strike Force. Why is it a Great Green Fleet Carrier Strike Force? Because it pays 4 times as much for a gallon of fuel as it needs to. Now, Mabus painted the picture of America's great naval force advancing from sails to coal to diesel to nuclear, and now finally the biofuels. But if we keep starving the Navy, it may soon not have enough loose change to repair the sails on old Ironsides. And this is only the beginning of this 2-for-1 bad deal, swindling taxpayers while ravaging national security. Obama's Agriculture and Energy Departments and Navy plan to spend $510 million over 3 years buying biofuel for military and commercial purposes, bypassing Congress by, quote, leveraging Defense Department procurement, unquote. The stench that is this administration is beyond belief. Absolutely beyond belief. And it reaches everywhere, right into our naval vessels. Here we have Canada prepared to build jointly, with our workers, a pipeline. We have a massive amount of natural gas in this country. We could build more nuclear power plants in this country. We have an abundance of coal, which our rulemaking keeps in the ground. And we're going to pay $16 a gallon for biofuel when we can pay $4? And it's going to come out of the defense budget, which he's already slashing. We're going to have green naval fleets. What do you think the red Chinese are doing? They're laughing. They're laughing so hard they're wetting themselves. I mean, this ideology, this religion of Marxism, which spreads into the environmental area, into the health area and so forth, is our downfall. 110 years ago, the most powerful country on the face of the earth was Britain. Now Britain's not even in the top 3 or 4, if you ask me. What are we going to be 100 years from now? Who's going to be number 1? It won't be us if this keeps up, I can tell you that.